Eagle Houston, if you'd like to try high gain pitch 212, yaw 37, over. Roger, I think I got that high gain now. Roger. Anything left here? Okay, sequence camera coming on.
Welcome to the Internet Space Program.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey.
I always find it hard to like match the energy of that intro because it's like explosions and action and
too ramped up. We're just gonna be like, "What's up, everybody?
yeah.
Welcome to this week's MoonDAO Town Hall."
Oh, MoonDAO.
Yeah, they start screaming.
Yeah.
But yeah,
MoonDAO is just Zoom call after the.
right.
But yeah, we've got some cool updates. Yeah, so we're gonna start with updates on our fundraisers. So we've gotten a bunch of great feedback from the community over the past week. Yeah, just as a reminder, like we're supporting the Inspiration4 Space Complex, specifically the multi-axis trainer, and then anything that we raise above our goal of 6K will continue to go towards funding and sponsoring more things at the Inspiration4 Complex. So yeah, I can share my screen here a bit so we can show the status of things. And so yeah, this is kind of a big learning opportunity for us to get real world feedback from people within the community. We've had 15 backers, which is great. And yeah, basically this week we're gonna start reaching out to more people and trying to get to the 6K goal. I think we'll get there. We're about 17% of the way. So we've got a little over 3 more weeks to continue raising, and so yeah, should be great. And I mean, yeah, we're taking in learnings as people are going in and contributing and getting a sense for how it works. So yeah, definitely reach out in the Discord if as you're going through this, you hit any bug or anything is confusing. This is really critical for us so that we can make these tools better and better, and then go for the next most ambitious thing that or new missions. We have a lot of people that have come to us seeking funding opportunities, and we're really excited to work with them. But yeah, we've got this kind of first beta here to get a lot of feedback from the MoonDAO community. So yeah, give it a look. I really mean it. Like $5 or $10 really helps because it's like another kind of rep of going through the full system and making sure that everything is real solid. And yeah, this is like all going towards making our systems more robust, more anti-fragile, and then we'll start raising our ambitions and doing more and more crazy things. So yeah, Ryan, any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. You know, we haven't been pushing it too hard, like Pablo said, just trying to make sure we got all the kinks worked out. But it's awesome to see that we've got 15 backers here from the community. Huge thanks to everyone who's tested out the system and contributed a little bit of funds. Super cool. I know we got a couple more today, and I didn't see this latest one, our 15th backer, so that's really cool. Yeah, who we got? I don't know. It's a mystery, but appreciate everyone who has given this a look or helped spread the word on social media as well. It's a big help, and if you have any other ideas for how we can increase the reach of this campaign, everything is going to help Space Camp. So we're doing it for a good cause, and I think it's proving a new model where, again, we proved it in one way by getting a bunch of random internet strangers together to send people to space, but we can use that same sort of model to finance space missions or initiatives like this and future things of a bigger scale. So yeah, please do check it out. You can go to moondao.com/mission to check out the mission and to contribute.
Yeah. And I want to announce a couple new features that we'll be rolling out here very soon. So we're going to, in the activity section, if you're a MoonDAO citizen, we'll have, your citizen profile linked here, which will make it cool because we'll be able to see who's supporting what. And then we have a notification system that will, go into the Discord, and then, you'll get all the emojis and thank you from our community. And then also for people that contribute more than $50, we are gifting them a MoonDAO citizenship. So this is essentially like a key to all of the other features within the MoonDAO app, the ability to get rewarded for contributions, joining projects, creating proposals, all of these things that we do within the MoonDAO community, within the Space Acceleration Network, becomes accessible to you. If you fund for more than $50, you'll get a free citizenship. So yeah, just another cool incentive for participating in this mission.
Totally. Yeah, and of course, people here that are tuning in live on X or YouTube or wherever you may be watching from right now, please do, give us a like, share, retweet for this live stream too, just to help us spread the reach during this this live event this week. Yeah, we wanted to give an update here on the mission and the fundraise, but we've also got some other exciting updates too. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Art Rocket Project vote winners coming up shortly. And we've got a few new project proposals that'll be under consideration. And also we have an update on the Q3 retroactive rewards for this past cycle and some of the results there. So yeah, $1,000 in 1 week. If we can hit 1,500 by the end of today, we'll be a quarter of the way through our 30-day fundraise and a quarter of the way through the goal amount. So it'd be really cool if we can push together today to hit that milestone. But yeah, we still got a couple weeks here to knock it out of the park, I guess. Yeah, we're aiming to get to the 25% mark by this week to keep on track kind of with the next so we're a quarter of the way through the fundraiser. We're almost a quarter of the way there with the funding, so help us achieve our goal. And if you contribute for more than $50, you get a free citizenship. So, if you are kind of interested in getting involved in the MoonDAO community, this is a great entry point. You get to do good by helping inspire the next generation at Space Camp, and then also get to be a part of our community. So, exciting stuff. Cool. Yeah, I can't remember everybody who's contributed, but big thanks to Iman and Astro Juris today, and Phil put in a big contribution as well. Absolutely, huge thanks to Phil. Social Hacker, I know, put in a little bit. I think Austin too. So yeah, thank you everyone who has tested it out so far, and please do keep the feedback coming about how we can improve this system, and yeah, just give it give the tires a kick and see how it all works out for you, because we are trying to, dramatically simplify the crypto onboarding experience and make it easier for everyone around the world to interact with these sorts of missions.
Yeah. One of the most helpful things that people can do is to introduce this to someone who has never interacted with MoonDAO or with crypto or anything like that. And I've kind of put this in the hands of some friends and watched them interact with it. People that don't play with this too much, and they were able to contribute. They were able to get through the whole process. They had feedback, and it was really good to get that fresh perspective. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a milestone for us to be able to onboard someone and quickly get them to contribute in just one session in a couple minutes. So and we're trying to make that even better. This is we're pushing these tools to their limits and the onboarding capabilities and the UIs and all that. So just really excited to have people play with this and give us feedback. And please check it out. MoonDAO.com/spacecamp is the link. So
yes, please do check it out. Cool. Anything else we want to chat about here before we switch gears, Pablo?
No, that's about it. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff here. We've got the Baikonur results, the retroactives, or the reward cycle for this quarter. The results are already there too. So yeah, lots of good info. And then we'll have a couple projects that we'll be sharing updates. So yeah, cool.
I guess before we switch gears into the Art Rocket project vote, I will share some results here about our retroactive rewards cycle. So we'll be publishing this shortly, but yeah, the world's biggest analog project got about 33% of the final vote. The IAC paper got about 11% of the votes. Art Rocket project 18, and the executive branch about 26, give or take a point, 0.9 or 0.2 here and there. But we'll have that published shortly. And per the retroactive vote by the community, that means our top contributors here were Injabab. Huge shout out to Injabab for all his work leading the world's biggest analog project this past couple quarters, actually. It's been, I think, about 6 months of working on this project, and yeah, he did an excellent job leading the team there. It was obviously a team effort with Iman and Titan and Eliza, but yeah, the project did really well, and Injabab turned out to be our top contributor over the quarter as decided by the community. So big round of applause for Bob. Yes. Well deserved for sure. And yeah, just in terms of, for those who don't know, each quarter we also have the top contributors from each project cycle. They essentially get voted. We consider it like a vote to continue serving on in the Senate for the following quarter. So the results for Q3 to continue serving on the Q4 Senate would be Injabab, Iman, we have Titan, Jade, and Anastasia. They were our top 5 contributors for the quarter as determined by the community vote. So yeah, big congrats to all 5 of you. Looking forward to continue seeing you serve on the Senate and helping shepherd through new projects, or of course, putting together another project proposal and continuing to work on cool stuff with the MoonDAO community. So yeah, in total, we're distributing something on the order of $45,000 in ETH to all our contributors. That includes the project rewards and the community circle. As I said, we'll be publishing these results here shortly in the Discord, so you can check your rewards total. But yeah, super exciting. Also, I didn't have the community circle pulled up here, but let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, and we're hoping to get these payments out within the next week or so, just in terms of getting the signatures from all the multi-sig signers. And yeah, in terms of the community circle, thank you everyone for your contributions there, for the independent sort of work that you were doing. We had, I think, 19 people who added their contributions in total, and the results there per the Senate evaluation, the top three were Iman, Felipe, and Elliot, social hacker. So yeah, Felipe and Elliot were huge help down in the Brazil project, just getting the word out and helping connect the Brazil project to the local community there in Rio. We had a really cool get together on the beach. Elliot was pretty instrumental in like connecting us with a few folks, one of them being Felipe, who came out with us and brought a telescope, brought some fossils, meteorites, things like that. It was really cool event connecting there with the local community. So yeah, big congrats, Iman, Felipe, and Elliot. Obviously, Iman was doing a ton of different things, including the documentary that premiered in Nashville last month, I guess it was, just about a month ago. So yeah, keep those contributions coming. If you have any independent contributions that help advance our space mission, please do add those to the contribution portal, moondao.com/contribute. You don't have to wait until the end of the quarter. Actually, I think it's better if you do more regular check-ins on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. If you've been working on something cool that's finished and that can be shared, just toss it in the contribution portal and get it in front of the MoonDAO community. And during our next rewards cycle at the end of the quarter, we'll be distributing rewards there. But yeah, really cool to see the map here too, Pablo. We've got people in 30 countries that are sharing their location with the community in the network, and 155 citizens around the world.
Yeah, I've just been poking around on the website as you're talking. I just want to remind people too that if they'd like to get in on next quarter's reward cycle, we are taking applications, so you can propose your project using our UI here, and then get involved. So just want to make sure people know that we are accepting projects. So give us your ideas.
Now's the time to get them in. I don't think we've updated the Q4 figure yet, but I think we're looking at about 14 ETH in total for our retroactive reward cycle for the next quarter. So it's still a good chunk of change, and obviously people can review the results of this reward cycle to see what sort of rewards people are getting just for doing some cool work. So yeah, we'll get that updated here, and we'll be publishing the results of this reward cycle in Discord shortly. But yeah, now's the time to get in your projects. And I guess that's kind of a good transition too into the Art Rocket project vote, because part of the process to enter in to be considered for this unique opportunity to travel to Baikonur and witness the Art Rocket launch, the Soyuz rocket launch, which is going to be a crewed launch here in about a month, was to submit a cool idea, a cool mission or idea that relates to space, social impact, and international collaboration. We had 14 people enter from around the world. We had a number of people from the US, from Colombia, from Brazil, from Bolivia. It was quite a wide spectrum. Uzbekistan as well, with some really cool ideas. I was really excited to see some of them come through. Would really love to see some of them become projects. Hopefully, people are going to work them into becoming an actual project with the MoonDAO community here in Q4 or in Q1 of next year. So I don't know, Pablo, if you could maybe pull up the Art Rocket URL too, and you could share that. But it's just moondao.com/artrocket. But yeah, we've got the candidates here, our amazing candidates, and the MoonDAO community decided over the course of about a week-long vote that the projects that they supported or the projects and candidates that they supported for this opportunity. So we're excited to reveal the top candidates here. So I guess without further ado, we can share who got the third place vote, the second runner-up. Yeah. Cool. All right, I will queue up we'll share the idea videos from each of the candidates in the order of the vote selection. So here is our third place candidate.
Hi, this is Joanna Ramirez from Colombia, MoonDAO citizen. I am a woman very passionate in outer space, and this is my proposal. Colombia is a land of culture, diversity, and indigenous wisdom, full of dreams and talent. Yet, thousands of children face barriers to accessing quality education, especially in science and technology. Our mission is to transform these challenges into opportunities. Mission Cosmic Colombia is an educational and social program that unites space, solidarity, and Colombian culture. With the support of MoonDAO, we will bring science and hope to thousands of students, teachers, and families. Our 7-day STEAM space journey blends science, engineering, art, mathematics, and culture. Each day is designed to inspire, empower, and connect participants with the universe. At the heart of the mission, there are Solidarity Space Kits with space pillows to paint, dream journals, and postcards of hope. These kits will reach children with cancer and degenerative diseases, reminding them they are not alone. Our cosmic guests are young Colombians already making a difference in science and technology. They will inspire others by showing that role models can be as young as they are. Mission Cosmic Colombia will reach more than 15 regions across the country, inspiring thousands of students and teachers. Together, we will place Colombia, with its culture, diversity, and indigenous roots, on the global map of inclusive space education. This is Mission Cosmic Colombia, STEAM to the stars. Join us because dreams have no limits. Let's go from Colombia to Kazakhstan, from Colombia to Russia, from Colombia to space. Thank you so much.
Cool. Yeah, congratulations, Giovanna. Giovanna's been with the MoonDAO community here, a couple big initiatives. She was there, present for Iman's rocket launch, was part of our zero gravity flight not too long ago, was also at the Starship launch with us down in Starbase, Texas. So super cool to see her progress throughout the years in the MoonDAO community and getting more involved with some cool ideas like this. But yeah, personally, I think it's an awesome project idea too. I'd love to see it happen as someone obviously who, I've lived in Colombia for a number of years now. So I'd really love to see that project happen, and definitely encouraging Giovanna to pursue it in terms of a real project idea that we can make happen here in the near future. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Agreed. Yeah, Giovanna's awesome. Yeah, we saw her at the Starship launch. She came out to the Blue Origin launch too. So yeah, lots of cool history with her, and it's awesome to have her in third place here.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Giovanna, for your entry. We will share the second place runner-up, second place vote here right now. Cue that up.
Hi MoonDAO community, my name is Drew Fine, and I'm honored to share my vision for MoonDAO's next project, Sky Stories, an Indigenous Constellation Atlas. Since the earliest days of humanity, people have looked to the night sky and found meaning in the stars. While Greek and Roman constellations dominate modern astronomy, every culture has its own star maps, living guides that shape agriculture, ceremonies, navigation, and identity. For many indigenous peoples, these constellations are fragile knowledge, passed down orally and at risk of disappearing as elders pass away. Inspired by MoonDAO's Art Rocket project, which proved that art can move people as deeply as science, Sky Stories builds on that legacy. This initiative uses art to amplify indigenous voices, blending astrophotography, storytelling, and immersive media to make space exploration inclusive and accessible to all. The pilot begins in Chile with the Mapuche people, whose constellations have guided life for centuries beneath the clear skies of the Atacama Desert. Chile is both a world hub for astronomy and a home to profound indigenous sky traditions, an ideal place where cosmology and science meet. The project advances 3 goals. First, space exploration. We will document Mapuche constellations and place them alongside modern star charts. With astrophotography and immersive augmented reality, audiences will experience the night sky through indigenous interpretations narrated by elders. Second, social impact. The project preserves languages and ceremonies while elevating indigenous perspectives in global space conversations. Youth will gain hands-on experience in digital storytelling, astrophotography, and media, opening pathways into science and the arts. Elders and artists will be compensated, ensuring equity and authentic community authorship. Third, country focus and global vision. While starting in Chile, the model can extend to Inuit, Navajo, Aboriginal Australians, and other communities worldwide, with MoonDAO governance guiding the path. Picture this, a trilingual art book of Mapuche constellations co-created with elders and artists, permanently archived on-chain, a digital atlas where constellations rise in augmented reality, and an immersive installation in Chile, live-streamed globally, where projections, sound, and story bring the Mapuche cosmos to life. Sky Stories deserves to be MoonDAO's next venture because it expands the meaning of space exploration. It's not about just rockets and satellites, it's about human meaning, shared wonder, and ensuring the cosmos belongs to all of us. By preserving indigenous star knowledge through art, MoonDAO can keep the night sky a source of inspiration and unity across cultures. Thank you, and I hope you'll join me in making Sky Stories a reality.
Cool. Congratulations, Drew. Super cool.
Yeah, the project hits like so many like interesting like aspects of what we want to like achieve at MoonDAO. And yeah, I think it's really cool, like weaving of storytelling and culture from different parts of the world and space. So yeah, it's one of my favorite projects that were proposed here. So yeah,
totally
cool.
Another one that I vibe with. I've traveled all over Chile as well in years past. Love the country. I think it would be cool to expand MoonDAO's reach and impact in Latin America and countries like Chile, or what we did in Brazil. So yeah, I'm also definitely encouraging Drew to pursue this into turning it into a real project here in the near future. And yeah, I think obviously, these vote results should also be kind of like a vote of confidence in the ideas that you had, and that people are excited by the ideas and want to see them turn into a real project with real impact. So not just an exercise in entering for this opportunity, but also an exercise in exploring some possible project ideas that we should try to make happen in the near future, in my opinion.
Agreed. Cool.
Okay, well, without further ado, we will share the first place selection in our Art Rocket project contest. The individual who was selected to, take part in this really, really unique experience here in the next month. So, all right, here is our first place winner.
Hey MoonDAO, I'm Trent Tresh, Director of the University of Arizona Center for Human Space Exploration. On our Discord, I'm known as Moonshot. Forgive the car video, but I'm traveling on the road and can't forgo really the opportunity for a pitch of something so impactful. I joined our Discord and as a citizen this year, but I'm no stranger to building successful projects in the space community, from working with NASA, the exploration atmosphere, life support system redesigns. Anastasia Stepanova and I have worked together on the SAM project and Carmen project. I even trained Dr. Iman for his high-fidelity analog, specifically his spacesuit training. I've also professionally trained numerous DAO members on things like spacecraft egress and pressure suit operations, like Andrew Paris and Bob Barnum. In celebration of the DAO's Brazilian art project, I'd really like to propose a spaceflight workshop at the Adu Atoll in the Maldives. So this workshop's goal is to teach the Maldivian Space Research Organization, as well as the Maldivian community, how to design and build large stratospheric balloons, as well as payloads to flight to near space. So after the workshop, we'll actually build a 50-foot balloon, and then we will launch a sensor array and a community art payload to the edge of space and recover it. From my work in economic development for emerging space nations, I've discovered really that balloon platforms are hundreds of thousands of times cheaper, more cost-effective to prove out space technologies, including but not limited to systems for the Moon and Mars. Both historically, Russians and US space programs started with using balloons, so again, not just for technology, but also human physiology and experimental flight. Here's some videos that I've taken of even modern-day balloons being used for their effectiveness today. From visits with NASA to Worldview, my own balloon flights, and even builds. These platforms are truly perfect for nations like the Maldives to perform things like Earth observation, technology development, and even start building a human flight program. This project specifically is about access to space and global empowerment, because if it's successfully funded, it provides a blueprint that can be adopted by any of the 150 nations which currently lack spaceflight capabilities. We can provide effective tools, knowledge, really for those countries to participate in the space domain. So at the time of the submission, the Maldivian Space Research Organization has provided us and approved the workshop, classroom space, a balloon building space, and a launch site on the Adu Atoll, which is the most southern atoll in the Maldives. So let's take MoonDAO to the tropical oasis of the Maldives. Thanks for your time.
Cool. Congratulations, Trent. Super cool idea, super cool project. Yeah, we actually have Trent here with us. Hey. Congratulations.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Happy to be here. I feel super honored to be able to represent the community and get to really develop space capabilities in emerging space nations like the Maldives, and hopefully we'll be able to, expand our learnings and impact even further. So again, thanks to everyone in the community, and just excited to be here with you all.
Totally. Yeah.
If you'd like, for the community as well, everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Trent Moonshot on the Discord, as you heard in the video. Extensive experience working in the space community at large globally. It's been about 10 years now working on everything from human flight projects, TV shows, projects such as this one. So just happy to keep carrying the baton and be surrounded with a handful of other inspiring individuals that, together I really do see the sum of all of our inputs being, just larger than what we'd be able to do individually. And I think that these balloon systems have their place in the future of impact. So if you'd like, I can dive into more about the Maldives and any updates, but I'll just pass it back over to you guys for a moment.
Yeah, well, I just sorry, Ryan. I just want to say that it's awesome that you've had so many connections with a lot of other MoonDAO citizens, and have been kind of playing a pretty big role in both Iman's journey, and Andrew Paris, and even Nenjabab, who we had a shout out to earlier too. Yeah, so it's cool that we get to work with you directly and support some of your work here. Yeah, I find it really interesting what you were saying in your video about kind of these like accessible space platforms for developing nations. I kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit and hear your thoughts around like what other things can, apart from stratospheric balloons, what other areas did you find were like great ways to make an impact for these developing nations?
Yeah, definitely, Pablo. So some of the work that we've done previously, just as far as space economic development goes, with an organization called the Kalis Foundation. So we were going around, we were speaking with representation from many different countries across the world. In the past half decade plus, we're seeing the emergence of what we call new space, right, or what has been defined as new space. and getting these actors outside of these kind of prime organizations. But what we saw with these prime organizations, or with governments who are already really established in this aerospace world, right, are that they would go to other countries and basically tell them what to do, right? Hey, this is what worked for us, which, I mean, justifiably so. If you have evidence of something that has worked previously, that's a good place to start, right? And having a conversation as far as how do other countries or organizations, communities get into the space world. But then what we tried to do is we went to these places and took a look at what they had already economically, manufacturing, person power, education, so on, and really asked and brainstormed around, okay, well, how do we create something with the infrastructure that is already there to provide these possibilities or capabilities that you're looking for, right? Which seems pretty intuitive, probably for anyone on this call. And so what we really did find, I mean, funding is always an issue, right? Everybody has difficulty with funding, especially when you look at emerging space nations that are starting these new space agencies, is that they usually have fairly small budgets. Usually if they're governmental, they're going to have larger budgets, but there are some crossover organizations that are trying to do a mixture of like a nonprofit, for-profit government kind of triad almost, and representation in all three spaces to try and have a large swath of impact. But, the US budget for space, for example, space exploration contracts that they give out to companies like Blue Origin or SpaceX, name your organization, it's a substantial amount of money as we have a huge tax base, right? These smaller countries, even for commercial space with Blue Origin, SpaceX, again, using them as leading providers for access, for example, with rocketry, still millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to work on a lot of these projects. And so still these smaller countries they just don't have the potential to be able to do that at this point in time, unless, they're able to get those funds from somewhere else, raise them, for example, perhaps on like the MoonDAO platform. But what we found is that access outside of funding is still a really big issue for space. So when you're looking at access to space, you're looking mostly at rockets. As said in my video, we do also see, what it really inspires me, just based off of, again, historic examples, is that we see human flight platforms and technology flight platforms being used via large envelopes or balloons. Ballooning is the oldest form of flight, started in 1783 in Europe and France specifically. People have been flying for a really long time. And even up into the early 1900s, we saw these platforms being both used in Russia and America to develop flight programs. Well, these balloons, they can large balloons, of course, material, person power, they can become very expensive, but you can also build these types of systems for substantially lower costs. I mean, we're talking hundreds of dollars, right? Hundreds, a couple $1,000s for these types of things. And this provides not only the opportunity for these emerging space nations to develop operations around flying objects to near space, but then they're able to take payloads on these platforms up to these stratospheric altitudes. So we're talking anywhere over 100,000 feet, right? 150,000 feet is probably about the max altitude you'd be able to get. But up there, what we see is we have access to space radiation. We have access to lower temperatures of space. We also have the lower pressures, right? So we get to simulate these aspects of, say, low Earth orbit, not the microgravity, mind you, but for especially technology development and operations development, for then these organizations to try and prove out these systems to build more capabilities. It really does seem like a huge game changer. And in a way, it's looking back at history and taking what has worked from history, what hasn't worked from history, and using our capabilities and technology today to do something better for the future. So right now, to answer your question, Pablo, I know I elaborated a bit, but access is still a big issue. Education, I think, is one of the lower fruits that people are grabbing onto, right? Inspiring the next generation, building out some capabilities for, let's say, engineering, computer systems, computer software, so on. Those play a huge role. Outside of access, I would even say things just like manufacturing capabilities. That is also a huge area that countries are trying to break into, especially when we see some of the largest economic drivers right now of the development of space are things like satellites that are providing internet or like cell service, right? So communication. So those are definitely huge areas to really focus on. Also, not only sending those things to space, but receiving that information back from space, like ground stations. Actually just did a project with the National Space Society, and we were looking at the impact of ground stations and the necessity of those stations around the world. So if you can help people gain manufacturing capabilities, or excuse me, educate their communities, right, in things like engineering, build things like ground stations, manufacture these capabilities, and then have access to space, I think that right now, in 2025 is where we're going to be able to have the largest impact.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Thank you so much for diving in and exploring all that. I can tell you've been, you're well researched in this area, and yeah, it's cool because we share the same sorts of goals at MoonDAO to try to get nations and people that are kind of outside of the conversation of space and try to engage them and support them and their ideas. So yeah, very aligned, and super cool.
Yeah, thank you all again. Happy to elaborate more, perhaps another time. But if anyone in the community has questions on the Maldives project, please do feel free to shoot me a direct message, or we can have a chat. But so far, everything's moving along with the Maldives Space Research Organization. So it's just kind of having those conversations back and forth, and then solidifying kind of when and how we get to move forward. So it's currently looking like December is our time frame. There is a potential that it might have to be pushed out to Q1 of 2026. But again, it's just going to, we have to align everybody's schedules and so on. So, but happy to be here. I've heard about MoonDAO for such a long time. And so now to get to work with you and put some boots on the ground is really awesome. So thank you.
Totally. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much, Trent. Super great to have you as part of the community. I was going to say, yeah, you're one of the newer citizens in the MoonDAO community, but I think you have the longest GM streak now out of any of us. Something.
Yeah, let's go. Every morning. Good morning.
So yeah, good morning.
It's perfect because you just, I don't know, I wake up in the morning, like the first thing I do is jump on Discord, see what's going on, see what new projects are being proposed, give a shout out. And so it's really great. I do think that what you guys have built and are continuing to build is really inspiring. So yeah, it literally wakes me up every morning, gets me out of bed.
That's awesome. Yeah, big congrats. Look forward to seeing this. I know you're drafting up the proposal and all that, but looking forward to actually seeing the proposal come to fruition and ideation and seeing this move forward, and obviously following the journey and the continuation of the Art Rocket project here. So congrats again.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Trent.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay, well, that's all we have for this portion of the town hall. I think right now we will be kind of shifting gears. We'll move back into Discord. Don't go anywhere if you're watching on social media, but we'll move back into Discord and start with some of the 2 project proposals that we have here. So yeah, just give us 1 second here and we will shift gears.
Cool. Yeah. Excited to review these 2 project proposals. So like we were just talking about, the community will vote on whether or not we fund different projects, and we've got 2 proposals coming in. So we'll see you there on Discord in a second.
And the second question is, what do you think governments, businesses, and other stakeholders should be doing now in order to make that future a reality? The reason we've structured it like that is for accessibility purposes. As I mentioned, one of the major obstacles to engagement is a feeling that people don't have anything, a sense that people don't necessarily have something of value to contribute. It can be quite alienating. If you start off with technical questions, people might not feel like they have anything to say or want to say. So what we do is we kind of try at each stage to flip those obstacles into opportunities. So instead of starting in the present with technical questions, like a lot of similar initiatives do, and I can point to something like the French Climate Council as an example, where they randomly selected a part of the population and brought them together over successive weekends to have them presented with relevant climate information from a set of experts, and then go through a sort of citizens assembly process where they deliberatively, collaboratively drafted climate policy proposals, of which the French government accepted 146 of 149. So it's quite a successful example. But it starts at this point where you're informing people first and then asking them second. Because of the unique challenge that we face in this sector, we are starting at the other end. We're starting with the dream first. So we go to the end and we say, okay, what do you want the future to look like? And then we come back to the present and say, well, what do you think we should be doing about it? And by doing that, we've found people open up and get really, really chatty and start basically pouring their hearts out on text and on video and in other formats as well. So imagine we had 1,000 responses to those two questions. Synthesizing the results to the first question, we get a citizen's vision statement. Synthesizing the results to the second question, we get a citizen's policy platform. And we can also ask it, as I mentioned before, more targeted, specific questions. So we can say, for example, what are the top 3 policy priorities of the data set? Or we can say, what are the main concerns of participants living in Germany, for example. Because of the way the tool is designed, it essentially functions like an LLM in and of itself, but rather than built on a vat of data, it's built on a collection of consensually provided responses, and can answer those questions in really, really interesting ways. It also provides, every time it makes a summary statement, it provides you with a set of references. So it'll show you the responses, like just inline references, where you mouse over them and it will show you the exact response that it's feeding on, or responses that it's feeding on to generate that summary. And so as part of our methodology as well, we go through and do a sort of transparent review of any sort of documents that we synthesized documents that we create. And at the other end of this process, at the end of the day, we're in part an advocacy organization. So we had to think about, what do we do with this this policy platform once we've actually created it, once we've generated it, and how do we actually get people to be motivated to be part of this this wee experiment. And we started thinking about the most effective points for advocacy work. And I always like to draw the analogy to something I saw years ago, and it keeps coming back up in my coming back up for me. Battlefield acupuncture. This idea that if you poke a needle in the right place, it can relieve pain somewhere else. If you find the exact right spot to hit. And so we've looked quite extensively at where advocacy is already being conducted, and obviously at the top end of the sort of policy conversation, when you get to sort of governments, agencies, intergovernmentals, and things like this, and certainly in the private sector, people have pretty cemented interests and ideas about what they want and how they want to go about things. But if you go to the grassroots, if you go to the place where a lot of policy begins, like within civil society organizations that are not necessarily in the space sector, and also to political parties, again, in the spirit of turning obstacles into opportunities, we've found that for virtually every political party we've spoken to, and I would argue probably most parties in multi-party democracies in the world, because space is not really a big topic, policy starts very often with a handful of individuals who happen to have an interest or a career adjacent or something like that, and it goes to committee, it gets voted on, and it becomes part of the party platform. So our plan is to use the resulting policy platform that we create through this process, and go to these sorts of places and try and get MOUs and try and get people on board to treat this as a foundation, and by doing this, by being able to go to multiple entities within multiple countries, we can contribute not just to advocating on behalf of the general public, engaging the general public, giving them a concrete connection to this conversation. So what is quite importantly a policy alignment across different actors and across different geographies and things like that as well. Space is obviously one of those areas where just having good policy in one place is not quite enough. We all have to be sort of pulling in the same direction, so to speak. So that's our methodology from the sort of top level. Basically, what we are looking to propose to MoonDAO is that MoonDAO supports us by helping us get the base level software subscription just to get this project off the ground. That software subscription costs 4 ETH. It will be a yearly subscription, so basically it assures that our project will be viable for 12 months. We have a team of 6 volunteers working on this project, and basically it means that we are capable of pulling this off in some way, shape, or form over that period. Anything else that we get on top of that will just expand the amount of time that we can contribute to it, and expand our reach, and increase the sort of magnitude of the project and our sustainability of the project in the following years. But what we can promise that funding it to this degree would do is that we would, as outlined in our OKRs, we would hit 5,000 in terms of reach. We are going for 1,000 in terms of respondents. Obviously, we're aiming for more in terms of reach to get those 1,000 respondents. We have already lined up a number of partner organizations. We're aiming to line up another 10 at least partner organizations to expand that reach. And we would be delivering the first draft of our citizens vision statement, as well as our citizens policy proposal, and delivering it to those organizations that we've connected with internationally who are interested in feeding off a citizens policy platform, and sort of having it, treating it as a primary resource for their own policy. On our website, Celeste, so I might just share my screen very briefly, because it might be interesting for those of you on the call. Pardon me for just a sec. There we go. So this is our website, and on our website, if you just want a bit more detail on what I've been talking about, you can see an infographic that we've put up that outlines our methodology, what we'll be doing from one end to the other over a 12-month period. This does not include other activities that we have. This is kind of our, like at the sort of essence of our project. It does not include other activities that we are planning in order to sort of keep that community engaged once we've got them through the door, once we've had them fill out the survey. We're obviously always looking for other things, other ways in which we can keep the community active. And we've been bouncing ideas around, ranging from, science fiction writing competitions where people feed off the vision statement and the policy proposal to write like optimistic narratives of humanity's future, to participating in more concrete deliberative processes through partner organizations and things of the like. So there's lots of exciting possibilities, but MoonDAO funding would allow us to just guarantee that we're at least gonna get the bare bones version of this off the ground. And I think there's some, as I said, I think the idea that underpins MoonDAO, right? Like providing a means for all of us who are just like really, really passionate about space and don't necessarily have the technical expertise to contribute meaningfully. That is the same aspiration that we have as well, providing people with a direct line into what's going on and making them feel like they're part of it. I feel like for so many issues in the world, if we had tried things like, if we'd been able to try things like this years or decades ago, it would have made a huge difference. So that's my wee pitch. Thank you, everybody. I'd be really happy to answer any questions. There's obviously a lot of resources in the proposal itself. And you can also go back and see the previous proposal as well. I should note, actually, because this came up as the first question last time. So the things we learned from the previous proposal was that we needed to be a lot more concrete about what the specific benefits to MoonDAO were going to be from funding this proposal. We also needed much more budget clarity, and in the previous proposal we had asked for a bit more to sort of fund some staffing costs, like on a contractual basis as well, not realizing the significance of retroactive rewards. And the other thing was we were asked to provide a comparative analysis so those looking at the proposal could see why we had opted to go for this particular tool, basically justify the expense. In response to those three, I would say, working backwards, so included in the proposal now is that comparative analysis, and it's a resource. So I've obviously worked in the sector for a long time, so I've used most of these tools to some degree or another, or worked alongside those who do, or even building them. So you can find that comparative analysis in the proposal, and a specific justification for why we've chosen this one based on functionality and other things. The budget clarity, the budget stuff, we've obviously just gutted the budget of that, that sort of staffing cost side of things, and we're only asking for the software costs. That's it. This time around, as I said, we learned what the retroactive rewards mean, and in retrospect, I feel a little guilty for asking in the first place. Now knowing that, and clarity around the value to MoonDAO has been much more concretely outlined in our OKRs as well. So we have made commitments. Like, I mean, to cut a long story short, the concrete benefits to MoonDAO outlined in our OKRs are growth of the MoonDAO membership, growth of the Space Acceleration Network, growth of the DAO citizen community, growth in recurring revenue from increases in the above, growth in audience and market for future revenue generating initiatives, and public association with the grassroots citizen driven policy. And we can promise to be focusing on those because they are concrete OKRs within our current proposal. And at the end of the day, this represents the potential to expose MoonDAO to networks of people who would otherwise just not have any clue about not even about MoonDAO itself, but what's going on in the space sector more broadly. This is a concerted outreach to those who are probably in that third part of the pie chart that I mentioned earlier, who in a lot of cases simply don't care. And that's what this project is about, is trying to move them from that part of the pie chart into, at the very least, the think it's cool part, and if we can, the think it's cool and think it's important part. So yeah, sorry, I thought that little addendum was probably important as well. I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, if there are any questions for Daniel, please post them here in the chat and ground control. But yeah, I think that was very thorough. So this is the you've gotten a lot of feedback on this proposal from the first time going through it. So I feel like this is already incorporating a lot of the questions that people have had from the community. So yeah, I feel like yeah, you've covered pretty much most dimensions of this, which is awesome. And yeah, I see Ryan typing, so I'll give him a second. But there we go. So Ryan has posted the temp check. So this is for all the senators. If you can go click that link that Ryan just posted in the chat, and then give your vote in the Senate. for whether or not this should go up to the community vote on Snapshot. So we'll give that a moment as people go in and do their clicking. And yeah, in the meantime, thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you coming up to the community and you know, presenting your proposal. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Cool. All right. So while people are voting there, we will move forward to the next proposal. So the next proposal is titled MDP 197, Accelerate MoonDAO Growth. And we have Kara Howard, who will be presenting for the proposal. So take it away, Kara.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I think you will see our proposal being linked there. I'll drop it in here too. So today I'm going to switch gears a little bit from space, but this is incorporating space, and talk about this proposal, which is titled Accelerating MoonDAO Growth. And so that lends itself to those of us in the marketing area thinking about, okay, what areas of growth does this mean? And so this is basically a 3-month pilot proposal that has a strong focus in the marketing areas, which is my background. And I want to frame up the details of this proposal and sharing for those that are maybe not working, day by day in the growth field, that growth encapsulates quite a few different stages of the marketing funnel. And so this is basically looking at MoonDAO as a whole and saying, okay, from the stages of members, potential members hearing about MoonDAO, moving to those that are activating as members, further through the funnel into those that are staying engaged and retaining as members, and then looking at revenue and referral. So there's kind of a fun acronym in the marketing world where this is called the pirate metrics, AARRR. So we can have a little bit of learning here today for those that are not in marketing. But the goal of this is really to give all of us as members the ability to understand more about what's happening within the DAO from this member perspective, and seize opportunities to improve the marketing funnel. I have received feedback. I haven't seen the hard data, and I'm not sure if that publicly exists in terms of analytics and metrics of what's happening within the DAO. But noting that it sounds like new member growth is not a huge challenge. There are challenges around engaging and retaining members, and those would be areas that we're going to look at within this proposal. So yeah, I am a new member of the DAO. Went to get my citizenship today, and just looking more into my image regeneration, and was kindly referred by Sarah Sawyer, who's here, and she's a part of our DAO. A little bit about me before I get into the proposal. So my background is in marketing automation specifically, and also community building. So I've been doing both for the last 15 years. I come from Web 2 tech and a lot of community building in the last 12 years, specifically for women in emerging tech. And I love being in Web3. I'm very active in a number of DAOs. I've got testimonials of experiences I've participated in with my organization C3, as well as an individual. All those testimonials are outlined in the proposal, so you can see them. So I won't get too much into that, but there's links there, and I think that will explain itself. But I absolutely love community building. I love decentralization, and I think it's interesting to see that as a whole, the industry of Web3 and DAOs, we're starting to see we're moving out of this kind of very focused building stage, right? Just building the infrastructure, building the tech, very developer-centric phase of the industry. And now we're starting to see the transition into more growth and marketing initiatives. So you're seeing DAOs developing ecosystem growth councils, They know that they actually need to have a working group that specifically focuses on the things like I'm going to be talking about today. And we're seeing grant rounds, not just for builders, hackathons, not just for builders, but actually now we're seeing community growth grants. We're seeing hackathons, marketing hackathons. So, yeah, this is what's transitioning now as we're maturing as an industry. And yeah, so this is what feels pretty timely that could be supportive of the DAO itself. And my intention within this 3-month program is to create the foundation that can be accessible for many of you that are not, again, day-to-day in marketing, for us all to learn together, for you to see the metrics, for you to have a clear understanding what's happening within the DAO, to see executed strategies within this pilot, and to develop what would want to look like something long-term, where this doesn't just drop off after 3 months, but a nice goal and intention would that be that there would be a working group developed around ecosystem growth, or whatever word you want to use, DAO growth, right? So this would probably entail bringing people in from the industry like myself. Maybe they are, but maybe they're not so active in space exploration themselves, but they're very focused on, community building and marketing activities within Web3 organizations and have an interest in space, which is the case for myself. So getting into the details a little bit more about this proposal, I basically have it mapped out by 3 months and weekly activities within that. So if you think of it like a marketing funnel, right? So just like any kind of funnel, there's always people that you start at the top of the funnel and you're getting new people to hear about what you're up to. And then it kind of usually goes in this V-shape kind of down from there, right? People that actually join, people that are actually engaging after they join, people that are really very, very active, and often in communities that can be less than 10%. So the way that this proposal is structured, and kind of any time we look at things from a funnel perspective, you want to try to avoid having a leaky funnel. So you don't want to put too much attention on bringing in new members up here if people are not super engaged later in the stages. So that's where this proposal focuses on the first 2 months of improving this engagement and retention areas of the funnel, and then goes back to the top to bring in new members so that we're seeing the sustained journey. Okay, so that's just the sort of visual framework there. Month 1 of this proposal then starts at a baseline of collecting and all the data available. DAO metrics, channel metrics, putting this together into a growth marketing dashboard and having that visible and available for everyone to see, and weekly metrics reported weekly. That's always the good starting point. This first month also includes inviting MoonDAO into our Grow Edge program. So this is a program that we started within my organization, which is basically a growth marketing focus and partnerships program that runs for a year. And we focus on learning around growth and forging partnerships with one another. There's currently 30 companies participating so far. Blockchains, protocols, DAOs, dApps, major organizations to DAOs are participating. And this will be a great way for your organization, the DAO itself, to introduce what we're up to our members, and also explore partnership opportunities, which I would be facilitating with you, because it sounds like there isn't like a marketing group yet. Small teams, this is very common within DAOs, that in the beginning stages, when you start to look at growth, it's there's limited bandwidth because that sort of department or area hasn't been developed yet. So basically, we'll be looking at partnerships. Some cool opportunities that came to mind as I was writing this was like, oh, well, we have Moonbeam network. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Moonbeam blockchain. They're actually in our program, and their head of ecosystems, a good friend of mine. Could be a really cool way to collaborate with that blockchain and do some co-marketing, potentially, a hackathon kind of idea. Also, Stellar Blockchain is in the same program and close friends with me. So there's the opportunities here to kind of, I'm seeing that like moving MoonDAO into a general Web3 demographic and bringing in new space explorers along the way and kind of positioning yourself further into the Web3 ecosystem. So that's a lot what's happening in month one, as well as exploring engagement strategies. As we know, we talked about that. Sounds like it's one of the main challenges is bringing, more people into the Discord, actively exploring, actively attending calls. I think you have a really solid foundation from what I've seen so far. Member engagement in any DAO is really challenging. People are super fragmented. They're super busy. They're involved in many different things. So whenever you do anything marketing, automation related, you want to look to see which channels they're in the most often and most likely to engage with. And I like that you have your onboarding sequence, your email onboarding sequence set up. I think there's some improvements we can do from the design perspective. And then post that with the member engagement strategies, some ideas. They may have already been explored or tested here, but we'll be just dropping in some seeds here. I don't mind to give away some ideas. But, looking at maybe your members being able to message one another. So kind of more member-to-member engagement. A lot of times people want to join DAOs to be able to connect more with one another. Also, so on that same vein, having sort of like an intros matching tool, matching members based on interests, looking more deeply into your referral program, which I saw you had in your email sequences, evolving that potentially into more of a clear reward system and an ambassador program, potentially including leaderboards, things like that. So that's those are some good ideas. Again, not sure where you're at with any of those so far, but we would hone in on that during the project. And then finally, as I don't want to take too much of your time here, now you're kind of seeing, okay, we've got these engagement strategies happening. We're clear on our analytics. We can see what stages people are at and where we're seeing some retention gaps. Then you go back to the top and we're like, okay, let's host this activation event. Let's go back to the top of the funnel. And we would be hosting a LinkedIn Live event. And this would be in late January. So people would be back to, the new year and active. And this would be a 1-hour webinar with speakers from MoonDAO. And we will be tapping into our DAO network, which consists of 40 communities, to invite their community members to join. So this is a model we've tested before, and it's gone well for Arbitrum. And we had, we're estimating around 20,000 invitations on LinkedIn, having a registration form. So that part of the funnel could go down to about 2K registrants. And then those would be around 2K marketing qualified leads to be able to turn into a post-event email sequence to join MoonDAO. Conversion rates to new members could be in a couple hundred, which would be a good number. And yeah, so that was sort of a lot of marketing speak there. But finally, in terms of success metrics that we'd want to see is this new growth analytics dashboard complete, weekly analytics reporting, new member engagement strategies executed and tested. We're seeing, as a result, engagement rates increasing. Some new company partnerships initiated. Roughly 1,000 MQLs, or marketing qualified leads, generated from this activation event. And then conversions, as I mentioned, to new members, around 100 to 200 members. And that would be the kickoff. And ideally, we just continue on with me kind of transitioning into more of a council for growth. So thanks for listening to all that. I'm here for any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. Yeah, that was yeah, I feel like both you and Daniel had very, very thorough proposals. Thank you for going through. There's a lot of stuff here that I'm learning too. So yeah, lots of terminology and stuff I'm wrapping my head around here too. But yeah, I think this is a very interesting proposal. And yeah, I'd like to welcome anyone in the chat that has questions to share your thoughts for Kara. And then, yeah, in the meantime, while if anyone has questions and they're typing them in, we can post a link and vote here on the temp check before it goes up to snapshot votes. So Ryan's posting the link there. If MoonDAO Senate members can go and click that link and leave your votes, that'd be very, very helpful. And yeah, any questions from anyone in the audience or in the chat for Kara? Manuel has some comments about pushing Launchpad demand. And I think that's definitely one of our core objectives here at MoonDAO is funding other organizations' missions and supporting them in crowd raising. So yeah, maybe I'll pass that over to you as people are voting here. Yeah, so citizenship is definitely something that's like top of mind for us because it's a subscription-based thing that can add recurring revenue. But yeah, also these like big missions where we could raise a lot of funding for organizations can be a big driver of revenue and increase our treasury. Yeah, I'm curious if it sounds like you've worked with a lot of other DAOs. Have you worked with any organizations that specialize in fundraising or any thoughts there on like particular strategies for like marketing around that sort of thing? Yeah.
That is a great question. So actually, yes, I have. I've been active in the venture space off and on over the last 12 years, a lot around focusing with women actually in venture. And so one partnership we have is with a venture group that's in the Web3 space, and we're going to be doing a similar kind of activation with them. I think that in general, I hear you, and so for example, I'm a person that's in Web3 but interested in space. That's not my go-to industry, but I think there will be a lot of interesting people and potentials and projects that could come out of this more general demographic that may have connections to some of these space-related companies or projects. I just think that casting a wider net could maybe also like kick off some new ideas and new markets and new connections. The crypto demographic, a lot of them are very active in the regulations areas, working with the governments right now. Stand with Crypto, for example, like there's obviously a lot happening there. So on the contract side and working with regulators could be an interesting market to tap into. In terms of fundraising specifically, I'm cycling back to your initial question. So are you saying you guys are looking to raise venture capital for MoonDAO, or are you looking to try to bring those types of people in?
Yeah. So I'll clarify a bit. So we've essentially rolled out a new service to help organize fundraisers for other organizations. MoonDAO was able to catalyze a big effort online to fund people to go to space. And we've essentially taken a lot of those tools and we're providing those as a service for a lot of other initiatives. And so this is an initiative that we've been kind of rolling out over the last couple weeks, and that we're using as a main driver for revenue within the DAO. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there could be some interesting potential partnerships with venture groups. One in particular comes to mind that has an angel network that has a pretty low buy-in to become an angel within their network. And so collaborations and that on that, as well as potentially with blockchains that I think the two that I mentioned have kind of like an interesting brand alignment, to look at co-marketing campaigns with them that could include some kind of financial incentives. Yeah, I think it's a combination here of trying to set up a good foundation for you all, whether this is you want to go into Web3, as a pretty good solid focus, or continue to stay in the space demographic and industries. It's still, either way, it's very helpful to understand what's happening with your member engagement, right? So when you want to go and raise more capital from a VC, they're going to want to see these metrics. They're going to want to see what's happening within this DAO. Does it look like members are engaging? And are they referring new members? If that kind of funnel metrics are demonstrated, then you guys have a much bigger opportunity to continue to raise funds, right? So, but if we don't have that as a baseline, it's hard to do much pitching.
Totally. All right. Well, I don't see any more questions coming in from the chat. So yeah, I want to thank you for presenting your proposal to the community, and yeah, we'll get the results here from the Senate vote soon, and then yeah, we'll move forward and move these proposals up to Snapshot if they're successful. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and yeah, I believe that is our last proposal. We may have some project updates, and so I will, I guess, pass it over to Alex if you want to jump up here and share a bit about progress on the Space Mice project. Cool. We've got Alex here. Hey, Alex, how's it going?
It's going. How's everybody doing? Appreciate you having me up just to give you guys a quick update. So we're still awaiting. I've been going back and forth between the principal investigator, Dr. Christensen, at KUMC, and also Pablo and Ryan here with a discussion on how and when to execute this transfer. We are probably going to chat right after this to speak about what percentage we want to. That is happening because right after the funds were awarded, we had that big crash that happened in crypto kind of across the market. So it went from an amount of, we currently have 3.18 ETH assigned to that project. And market value of that right now is, I think, 12,250 or something around there, as opposed to the original 15K. The PI has said that he can still make that work. So what we will likely do is transfer maybe 50% of it to him, probably here today, and then wire that from ASRI's 501c3 bank account to KUMC's endowment fund tomorrow if we're able to get it in under the wire. Otherwise, it'll go out Monday. And then wait, hopefully, for the price of Ethereum to climb back up a little bit so we can make them a little bit more whole. But yeah, he's in need of about at least half of the 15K to sort of pay the back bills and cover up until middle of next month. So we will continue to update the community on that. With regard to the campaign itself, we've been having consistent meetings and building content and materials out for when we launch the campaign. I think I probably already maybe mentioned this in one of my previous updates, but we do have two of ASRI senior scientists are scheduled to be on a major late night TV program that is going to be happening pretty much right smack, or at least it's projected right now it's going to be happening right smack in the middle of the campaign. So we're hoping that that gives us a pretty significant boost because obviously, they'll look to do a shout out. And we're also amidst reaching out to the press, major influencers in the science community and elsewhere, and prepping all these, continuing to prep all these products for making sure that the campaign can go viral. So it's going to be a hashtag Save the Space Mice kind of thing that we're looking to push. Going through all the art, YouTube video construction and all that, so everything is ready to go by the time we launch. But when we do launch with our scheduled start date on November 10th, we are going to run until probably at least 21 November. I'm hoping we don't run over into the holidays, but we are, in our legal language with KUMC, we put in the request that we can run this thing at least until the end of the year, if required, in order to hit certain goals, or if we've just got really good momentum going that we want to keep up. But our target date for the campaign and all the material that we're planning, that is going to be for that initial 12 days. So I think those are kind of all the major developments. And shout out to, I don't know if he's still in here, but shout out to Elliot Bryant, because he's been enormously helpful with a lot of the interface stuff and helping us put YouTube things together. So just want to say appreciate him.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see the MoonDAO community and Elliot.
You might be muted, bro.
Oh, I don't think I'm muted. Can you hear me, Alex? Can other people hear me?
Maybe it's
I guess
on my end. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm seeing the bubble light up, so cool. People can hear me in the chat. Might just be something on your end there, Alex.
Yeah. That was my fault.
No worries. Okay, well, thank you for your update. And yeah, let's save those space mice. Cool.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks. So that is the only project update that I'm aware of. So I think we can close up here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. And lots of cool proposals, big updates, lots happening right now. So a little bit longer of a town hall, but yeah, a lot of stuff moving. So yeah, it's cool. There's a lot of cool momentum. All right, well, thank you, everyone. We'll close up here. And like always, if people want to chat and hang out after the town hall, we've got another channel right under this one called Major Tom. Feel free to hang out there and get to know other people in the community. Just chat. It's a bit less formal and structured than this town hall. So yeah, invite people to join down there if they'd like. And if not, then we'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.